Hi guys, this is Crive coming with another commentary, this time on Priory 19. Let's first go over the talents. We have a couple choices here. First of all, just in time. It's pretty good here, especially for the tank. In the second boss room with the paladins, most tanks are struggling there and a second TD charge could be useful there. The second use case is for the light spawns. When they target one player and do a lot of damage on that player, you can TD him more often. Or you have like more use cases for TD in this case, especially in the last boss room. If a person gets targeted repeatedly and doesn't have defensives anymore, it's quite good to have two TD choices here. But if you feel confident about your tank and your group's defensives, then you can also play into flow state for more damage, or accelerating burst if you want a bit more healing. I chose to play just in time, but I played another Priory yesterday where I played flow state and that also felt quite good. Another choice here is to play either into double time or time convergence. Time convergence for a bit more burst healing and damage. Double time just to have more over time healing. I feel like in this key, time convergence is the better play for the way that I like to play. On the left side, we can go Scarlet Adaptation or Adaptation for more damage, or opt into Clobbering Sweep for a bit more CC, which is quite nice for the footman at the start in the first pulse, and later on in the second boss area and last boss area on the trash there to stop casts, because you won't be able to kick all of them. There are quite a few conjurers and mages that cast so often that your group won't be able to kick every single cast, and just having more uses of Clobbering Sweep is quite useful there. Alright, let's go over the routes quickly. There are a couple options if you plan on playing this with your team in a very high key. First option is this route. What you do is you skip these first footprints either with a DH, with the just melt skip. Another option is that you just rescue from the left or from the right. I would suggest the right. Do a rescue skip here. You, like, one person mounts up and two people jump on their mount, and you just skip up here. And then one person has to invis-pot or get through on their own. And then the only change here in this route compared to the second route is that you play this pack here upstairs together with these two packs. Someone has to pull upstairs, which should be you as a healer. And then you could also pull this one. The dangerous part about, or like the annoying part about this route, is that this patrols here on the top here, and you might not be able to grab it. The advantage why this is being played is because there's only one caster. It's two footmans and one priest, which makes it easy to kick, and you can pull everything together. Compared to Route 2, where the only change is basically that instead of this pack here, you play this pack, which has a conjurer and a priest. So that's two casters, more annoying to kick, but you can instantly set it up, and that's why it's easier to play than this. Here you need to have really good timing to be able to pull this before the patrol is coming. There's another choice for routing, because the issue with this route usually is that you kill the first pull and the second pull quite quickly, and then you move up the stairs, and then this night pack, which is a patrol which patrols from here all the way down to the stairs. It will often be in this area here, and you have to wait for it to come back in order to pull the pull 3 together. And so what some people choose to do is that they play this pull instead, which is pull 3. And the night patrol will usually be in this area, and this way you don't need to wait. You just rush up the stairs and you just stack everything up here. This is a pull where you want to send all your healing cooldowns, all your defensives. It's the most dangerous pull in the whole key. But if you make it through this pull, then you're good to go for the rest, because the subsequent pulls are not that hard. You only have this mini boss, which will be like another hard pull, but afterwards pull 5 is very easy to heal, and the boss is also very easy to heal compared to Route 1 or 2, where you have to play this pack, have good healing here, and then have good healing afterwards too, because you're fighting Elena. In Route 3, you're completely skipping her, you're killing the mini boss, you let Elena come to this place, and you just walk around her on the right side or the left side and skip her this way. Anyway, let's go over the key. We chose to play Route 3, And we're doing a rescue skip here to start. Our hunter can invest through, so the rest of my group is gonna use the rescue skip to get up here. And this way we pass the first knights, which are quite annoying. And the reason why we don't do the melt skip with DH is because we want to keep our melts for this pull here, so the DH can melt off the lead. And then here at the start, I have a healing plan. Gonna quickly talk over it. We have some overlaps here with Suleiman and the knight, and there's one overlap at the start of the pull, which is why I want to have defensives here. I'm also holding my tipped scales and my stasis here. I'm just waiting for Suleiman to cast. I'm telling my team to press defensives for the first one, because it's overlapping with the knight. And defensives are the best way to cover that. That's just the strongest DR we can have, usually. And I'm just tipped scaling a Spirit Bloom and storing that in my stasis. And then for the second one, my plan is to have Zephyr for the second AoE of Solomon, because any AoE on a 19 where Suleiman claps and we have a sharpshooter shooting one person, that person is dead, because you drop quite low. So you want to always cover the AoE with defensives in some kind of way, or raid cooldowns. Unless sharpshooters are dead, then you're fine, because then there's no damage happening. So the second one is my Zephyr or my Lumithars, and then the third one is again like whatever you didn't use, Lumithars or Zephyr. And on the fourth one, everybody has their defensives back, so you just call your team to press defensives again. And it's overlapping. The fourth one is an overlap again, so it's really nice to have defensives there again. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're lusting here. I'm applying Fire Breath, dot Dream Breath, and then I'm just pressing defensives, calling my team to do the same, and then tipped scaling here, and we're Giga safe on this first overlap. Now we get the second AoE coming. I see it here on my timeline week around. And here, this is Zephyr. And we're fine here. Now in 10 seconds, we get the third one. And that's gonna be my Lumithars. You can line these impales, by the way. So if you go here to the right side, you can line it on this corner, or you could go on the stairs, and then when he targets you with impale and you walk around the corner, you don't get targeted and it doesn't recast. Here, another trick you can do. That's the overlaps coming. That's the fourth Suleiman clap that I talked about. I'm telling my team to press defensives, and what I'm personally doing is I'm using Emerald Communion. Because the thing about Emerald Communion and Suleiman is that when you're in Emerald Communion, while he claps, you're basically immuning the damage. So I'm not going to take any damage from this, and I'm healing my team at the same time. Another way you can immune this AoE from Suleiman is if you deep breath. If you're in the deep breath animation during it, then you won't take any damage from the clap. So that's one tip I can share here. See, I didn't take any damage at all from the AoE. One thing you should look out for here as a healer in this pull is that you try to help your team with the footmans by knocking them up. It's something I didn't do here, but I should have done it for sure. Because your DPS, they just want to do damage, they want to kill the pack quickly, and if they have to use their globals to stop the footmen, then you're losing on valuable DPS. And if the footmen aren't stopped quickly, you're losing a lot of DPS, because the footmans, their like little bubble that they do reduces the damage that the enemies take. Second pull, I showed it to you in the route. It's just this small setup. I help pull the footman on the top. We also got this caster pack on the left, and we have the mini boss coming in. What we're doing here is we're focusing the caster, and then once the caster is dead, we can chain in the other pack here on the left, which has 2 casters again. We don't want to have 3 casters, so that's why we're like focusing down the caster and then chaining once the caster is dead. What you have to care for here in this pull is your tank mainly. You see, the tank had to use all his cooldowns in the first pull, so the tank is quite weak in this pull, and because of this, you mostly have to do tank killing in this pull. And the second thing is that you have to care about the mini boss jumping on you. One way you can dodge her is by just being in motion when she's jumping. So what I do to prevent getting hit here is just to hover every jump she does, and just moving my character to the side while she's in her animation. Like here, you see I'm just going to the left while she's jumping, and then if she would jump on me, she would miss me. And here again, just focusing on tank healing. You see my mouse is mostly over the tank in this pull. I'm sending Tip the Scales on cooldown here, just for damage. Don't hold it for healing. There's nothing for healing that you need, or like no use case here that you need it for. So just send it here and blast DPS. And once you got the second pack in, you just want to focus on highest health, like the target with the highest health, just to speed up the pull. You don't care about any prio targets anymore. It could be the mini-boss if your team has like low prio damage. Otherwise, it's usually the sharpshooter here, which is highest health, so just focus on the sharpshooter, because the sharpshooter jumps out, and that's why he doesn't take the same damage that the rest of the group takes. Or like the rest of the pack takes. Sotax died here, he got an unlucky overlap where he got shot, and he got the jump from the mini-boss at the same time. That's the only death we have in this 19 Priory, by the way. He just had an unlucky overlap there. I send the Tip the Scales here again. One thing you can sometimes do if the pull is quite low, then you will notice that your DPS are holding cooldowns. Like all of my DPS, they're starting to hold cooldowns for the next pull, which means even though the pull is like 15% or something, it will die quite slowly. And one thing I started doing is that I'm just sending my Tip the Scales here, or like my damage cooldowns, just to speed up the end of the pull. And my cooldowns are so short that I will get it back for the next pull usually. So that's why I'm sending Tip the Scales here. And I will get it back like 20 seconds into the next pull. If I didn't do that, then this pull would have maybe lived like another 10 seconds or something. So now comes the dangerous pull. I told you about it. It's 4 sharpshooters, which is crazy. It's like 4 shoots happening on the whole party, plus the lynxes, and also the knight on top with this bleed. So I'm literally planning on sending everything here. I'm charging up a stasis. I'm dispelling when I see someone is in danger. The lynx's bleed, by the way, goes away when you heal someone to full. So just make sure to like instantly top that person. This way you don't have to dispel the bleed. I'm not dispelling the bleed here. I'm just sending literally every healing cooldown. What I sent here was Emerald Communion, so the group is topped during the AoE. And now I'm just like sending all my healing cooldowns on cooldown just to keep the party topped. Here we get an Impale on Azure. He has no way to remove it. He is Dwarf, but he used Dwarf earlier. So I'm just gonna dispel him here. You see I held my dispel, like just for this Impale dot. Because you can heal the Lynx bleeds. That's quite okay. One thing that is interesting about the Impale dot is that it doesn't tick every second. The Impale dot from the Knight takes every 3 seconds, so you actually have quite a bit of time to heal it up. In case you can't dispel it, like don't panic, just give that person some healing. You have 3 seconds in between it takes. And it's really important here that I send everything on cooldown. You might notice everything here in my spellbook was on cooldown in this pull, but Press Evoker has pretty short cooldowns, so you will usually get them back for the next pull. Like I would not greet my Tip the Scales, I would not greet my stasis, I would just literally send everything there on cooldown, because I know I will get it back anyway. And here, this mini boss is quite hard. The way I'm healing it, I'm expecting like four dots on this mini boss. And the first one I'm just healing with Tip the Scales. That's my strongest healing window. I'm dispelling myself, so I stay above the threshold for my mastery. So I'm like the highest health target, and heal my party whatever mastery value you use more. So I'm always important to dispel yourself. Second one, I'm releasing my stasis. And I'm always using a life bind here, just make it safer. And you see we're quite safe in this way. And then on the third one, I'm gonna use Rewind. And then for the last one, you usually get Tip the Scales back. So that's the way you heal it. It's kind of similar to playing shards in House of Atonement. One important thing is that you want to do is that you have damage reduction on your group for every single one of these AoEs. So on the first one, I told my team to press defensives. The second one was Lumithors, I think. And the third one was Zephyr. And the last one, we have defensive spec. So make sure that you yourself also use something. So again, it was defensives into Zephyr or Lumithors into like the other one, like Zephyr or Lumithors into personals again. And here I could have used the tip scales, could have sent it, but I saw the pull was like very low, and I felt confident enough that I can heal it without having to use my tip scales here. And this next pull here, it's very easy. Not much happening, you just have the Knight with the Impale. Casters are being kicked. And I tried to line the Impale here, but couldn't make it, so I just dispel myself. But any future Impales, you can line here behind this corner. And besides that, nothing is really happening in this pull. The AoE from the Knight is not that dangerous. You can line it around the corner. And you can... I should have lined this Impale, honestly. And the Suck here, or whatever it's called, like Purification on one target, it's fairly easy to heal with defensives. Your group should have defensives, and otherwise you can just use 2 TDs. You don't really need your TD charges on the next boss, at least not on pull. So whenever someone gets targeted by the Purification, just give them a TD. You don't really need it later. And that makes this pull fairly easy to heal. Like, in my mind, this is a chill pull for me. I'm just relaxing here. Recovering cooldowns. Okay, now onto the first boss. The way we have it set up is that our hunter, our longest kick besides me, kicks the mini boss. He's like a 20-second kick. The boss, Cry, he casts his kick like roughly every 20 seconds. So a hunter or a mage or a warlock, for that matter, can solo kick that. Have that player, if you have that in your group, on that boss. And then the other 3 players are kicking the dual maul fireball, and you can act as a backup here. What I would suggest you do on this boss is that you put into your bigwigs the timer for the fixate, because sometimes like the hardest overlap to heal for you on this boss is when we get the AoE that drops everybody low, and then right afterwards he jumps one player and fixates him. That's where your group will die if you don't have healing prepared. So make sure you track that, and then just be quick with your healing. Top the group right after he drops the AoE. One other thing you can do on this boss that's gonna help you tank a lot is using stasis dispel. If I like skip ahead here, I'm just skipping ahead to get my stasis back because nothing is happening on this boss fight. You can triple dispel your tank by like the bleed, which is the only thing that really hurts him here. By pressing stasis and dispelling your tank once with your bleed dispel, even though he has no bleed, just pressing the spell on him. And then when the bleed comes for real, like this time, he actually has the bleed, I'm dispelling him again. So I have 2 bleed dispels stored in my stasis. And if you have 2 bleed dispels stored in your stasis, you reset the bleed dispel again. So now you saw I dispelled the first one. Here on the second bleed he gets, I just press my stasis and I get my bleed dispel back, which is like this white bar that I have here. That's my bleed dispel. So I can dispel him 3 times in a row, which is quite useful. And other than that, this is like a straightforward boss. Just blast DPS here. You can send your healing cooldowns again if you feel like you need to send them. Send tip the skills. You can send rewind. You can send everything. And then once the boss is like nearing its end, like if you're like 1.5 minutes into the boss, you should start holding at least your rewind and Emerald Communion, because you want to have that later. For the pull afterwards. And like about 40 seconds before the boss dies, when the boss is like 15%, 10%, you should also start holding your tip to scales and your stasis. But before that, you can freely send it. It's very important to send your cooldowns on a cooldown, kind of, just to make your life easier. And you should get a feeling, or like it's important to have a feeling of when you get them back, so you rotate your cooldowns better. You get more uses of the same cooldown in the same dungeon. Okay, so here everybody's holding. That's also maybe one important thing that you have to care for. Here the boss is like 4%, and you saw the boss fixated Zotax here. And all the DPS are holding cooldowns, like my DH, my Hunter, they're all sitting on their damage cooldowns, and they're not pressing them, which means that this last fixate at 4% or whatever low health threshold of the boss will last a bit longer, because everybody's not doing as much damage. So feel free to send a time dilation here, or just be aware that you will need to heal that person a lot, because everybody's just holding cooldowns. So here, I'm like ready to commit, to commit a TD, or even Emerald Communion. Like that's the two things you can commit. You don't really need Emerald Communion on this next part. Obviously, of course, it's useful, but you can interchange, like change it up with the rewind. Either way works. So just make sure that the last person lives. Then for this pull, there's two things that are important. First of all, understanding the Templars. They have like 2 buffs that they can give themselves, which basically give them attack speed and more damage. And they are destroying the tank. So just be aware that when the Templars enrage, when they get their buff, that they're doing insane tank damage. And second of all, for the tank, on pull is when he takes the most damage. So just watch your tank on pull. Once, like during the pull, you should only focus on the tank for the first like 5 to 10 seconds, because that's when he will take a lot of damage. And afterwards, you can focus on group healing. And one important thing here also is to include him in your life binds if you can, because especially at the start, as long as the Templars are alive, he will be in a lot of danger. So what I'm doing here to deal with this is I'm doing a rank 1 Fire Breath, just setting up my Fire Breath dots, because they heal my group through Life Graph Flame. I'm having reversions on my party, and then Dream Breath as well. So just I've like all the dots and hots rolling now. And then here, I'm just setting up a life bind. I know the Sacred Trolls are coming. And the way you play this, the best way possible, is to set up your life bind with the tank included, as long as the Templars are alive. And then you should wait a bit here. Like your first instinct might be, okay, I should instantly life bind and instantly use something. But it's way easier to heal if you actually wait for like 1 second or 2 before you use your life bind, because then the life bind will last for the second Divine Toll as well, or like Sacred Toll. So here I'm just waiting a tiny little bit. I could have waited even longer, and then I'm sending a tipped skills into my stasis to heal the first AoE. So here, scales. Basically I wouldn't even need to use it though, because as you saw, like even without me sending tip the scales, my hots and dots would have already topped the group just from that. So you saw group dropped, I used Verdant Embrace, and the group was basically like 90% here without me having to use anything. But anyway, you can use tip the scales on the first one, and then make sure your life bind lasts for the second one. And then here, that life bind basically instantly healed the group. I didn't even press anything. If you look at my action tracker, just me having the life bind on myself, having like double reversion, having like renewing blaze on myself here, which heals back the damage I take and converts it to party healing through life bind, was enough to top the party there. And then here we get the last Divine Toll. You know, it's 4 paladins, so you have to heal 3 times. You might think, okay, I have to heal 4 times, but I actually just have to heal 3, because your only goal is to top the priority for the next divine toll. So you top the priority 3 times, and the last one hits, and then you have a lot of time after the last one, because there's like no divine toll or like sacred toll coming afterwards that is like important to heal quickly, right? So here, this is the last one I need to heal quickly. And I'm just releasing... I'm not releasing my stasis here. What the fuck did I do? I just think I put like a living flame with my tier set buff into the group with a life bind. And that was enough. So here, second one was Renewing Blaze. And then the third one, life bind into just living flame. And that's it. And now we're safe again, because now the last divine toll comes, or like the sacred toll comes. But there's no damage event happening afterwards that I need to top the group quickly for. And my team even killed one. They killed one paladin. So we're now in a situation where we just have to heal 2 sacred tolls. So for the first one, we can just use like either living flame healing, because I'm still in my skills window, but you could use your Spirit Bloom here. That would be totally fine. And then for the next one this here, I release my stasis, but you could just instead the Dream Breath or something. Or like use your communion. It's not as important. You see, it's very, very easy for us to heal this. And then here we have the Sacred Toll. And again, here I'm chilling. I know the next Sacred Toll is coming in like 10 seconds, so we're like fine. Here again, we're in a situation with 4 paladins, so I'm just remembering, okay, I have to top the group 3 times. And then you're just going over your tools. First of all, you want to get your Spirit Bloom on cooldown. And then you want to get other cooldowns on cooldown. The way I chose to do it here was that I chose to use Emerald Communion to heal 2 Sacred Tolls. Because for me, this was a bit unexpected. I didn't know we were chaining. I saw we have like 4 paladins alive. And the best way to use Emerald Communion is actually to do what I told you earlier. Like, wait with the life bind for like 1 or 2 seconds, then use it. And then the life bind will last for both Sacred Tolls, which is what I did here. I healed 2 Sacred Tolls with 1 Emerald Communion, which is quite convenient. And then for the third one, I can use Tip the Scales, for example. And then the last one I don't need to heal because there's like nothing coming afterwards. I don't need to heal quickly at least. And that's the way you deal with these paladins. And I even have my rewind, and honestly my group didn't need to press any defensives. Like I can heal this without them pressing any defensives. And I'm just gonna skip over this to go to the boss because there's nothing important happening. Now we get to the boss. So the way you play this boss could be a bit different compared to, like, it depends on your group. If you have a DH, if you have a DK with AMS, or if you have a like paladin that can spell bob or immune it himself, the boss plays quite differently. But the way I play this boss is that I on pull, I send Tip the Scales because I know I won't need Tip the Scales for until like 1 minute in. So here I'm just sending Tip the Scales on pull. You see I have it on cooldown. I'm just blasting DPS. And we're moving the boss away from the hammers. And then here, on this AoE, you need to be a bit careful with your hovers. You need to kind of be mindful, where do you hover? Do you hover away from the hammers? Or do you hover away here? I decided to hover away here. And then we're just soaking this first one with AMS. If you don't have AMS here, like if you have a different setup where you don't have a DK that can soak it, one way you can do it is that your tank soaks 2, waits for the debuff to drop, and then he soaks the last one. So your tank is soaking all of them, is one choice. Another choice is that you soak 1 and you use your Renewing Blaze. That's also completely fine. And one nice thing that you can do if you do this is that you can life bind yourself to the tank, and because you soaked 1 and you're taking a lot of damage and your Renewing Blaze is healing back the damage, you're also passively healing your tank through the life bind. That's one smart way to heal this. But ideally, you should never soak unless you have Renewing Blaze, because if you soak, then you're taking damage. And if you take damage, that means you're lower health, percentage-wise, than the group, which means then that you're healing less because your mastery isn't active. So don't soak unless you have your Renewing Blaze. Here I get my tip the scales back, which is perfectly like in time for this 5 soak, or like 5 charge soak. And the way you want to heal that one is to use some kind of AoE raid cooldown, like your Zephyr, or you tell your team to press defensives. Or if you don't have that, use Emerald Communion. So in this case, I'm just using Emerald Communion, and I'm hoping for my DK to go in, but he was waiting for his AMS. I didn't see that, so that's why I'm a bit late here. That's why I felt a bit more scary. But the Zephyr carried it. But if everything went according to plan, I would have just healed this completely alone with Emerald Communion. Wouldn't need to use the Zephyr. I just didn't see that he didn't have his AMS back. But here, I would have just healed this with Emerald Communion, and then I could have had the Zephyr for the next one, for example. And if you play it like that, that boss feels pretty straightforward. Nothing important happening. Just keep in mind, the boss is also doing a lot of tank damage when he casts his spell where he buffs himself. But that's it. Just gonna watch this a bit now. Just use a life bind when your group is soaking. Here our paladin just soaks it with bubbles, so we don't have any dots. But otherwise you would probably have to spam heal your tank, because he has to soak all 3 of them. I don't have any like special cooldown assignments. I feel like this boss is fairly easy to heal if you have a DK in your group with AMS. If you don't, then you will have to plan on using different healing cooldowns, but I'm not used to that. I haven't thought deeply about that, so there's no advice I can give you right now, except for making a plan with your group on how you want to soak this without a DK. But if you have a DK, this is a very straightforward fight. Then we can go ahead to the next pull. We're upstairs now, playing the first pull here. I think nothing to talk about here. It's just like the pulls downstairs. You have to just heal the group once, basically, quickly. So here, you don't want to send your stasis like I do. Stasis is completely overkill here. The only thing you want to send here is one tip the scales, just to top the group quickly. So here, just one quick tip the scales into a Spirit Bloom. Group is topped, and then the second toll comes, but you don't care about the second toll, because the toll after the second toll is again in 20 seconds, so you have all the time in the world to heal the group back up. There's no time pressure unless kicks are going through. And it was a mistake sending my stasis here, because this pull was dying quickly anyway. And even if we got like a second AoE here where I would have to release the stasis, it's not needed since it's only 2 paladins. If you have 2 paladins, you can basically just use one Spirit Bloom, even without tipped scales. Just use one Spirit Bloom in a life bind, and then you're done. Because there's like the only danger is having the Sacred Toll into another Sacred Toll, and you can't top the party in between quickly enough. So then we go up, and it's basically the same pull that we're playing here. The only added difficulty is that we have the light spawn on top, and the mage. As you can see, I'm tracking a buff. The mage and one footman have a buff that they explode for damage when they die. So that's the only added difficulty here. And the way you deal with this is that you just, on top of whatever you do anyway to heal the paladins, is that you also be mindful of UTD and use Zephyr. So here, on pull, the light spawn targeted one player and did his purification on him. In case it was me, I just used one charge of like my skills and my renewing blaze, which covered that completely fine. There was not much healing I had to do. And then for the AoEs, you play them just like before. Here, topping the party quickly with the skills. And then for the second AoE, you can use your Dream Breath or something else. You could release your stasis if you need to. But again, the only reason to top the party after the second AoE is just for the light spawn, if that would target a player. But otherwise, you have so much time to heal the group back up for the next set of Sacred Tolls. And if a player gets targeted here during the AoE, which is the important part. So if during a set like this, a player gets targeted by the light spawn, then you want to TD that player. But here, it's not lining up. If your tank pulls this in a, like, instantly kinda, then the purification will almost never line up with the AoEs. So in this case, we got like one purification on pull, which was on me. We got another one like right before the AoEs, which was on Nogi, but he used AMS to immune it. If he didn't use AMS, I would have just TD'd him in this case and just did my normal healing rotation. In this case, he immuned it though, and then I get targeted here, and I'm fine. There's nothing happening. I see the next toll is coming in like 5 seconds, so there's no time pressure. That's also one important thing here. Track when they're coming. Like either have a weak aura that tracks when the tolls are coming, or use the big wicks built in spell cooldown on nameplates. So you just know when the tolls are coming, and then you can make your plan. Here we have an overlap again. Sacred Toll, purification on me. What that means is I TD myself. And that's it. Using Spirit Bloom, and I also actually used my scales on top, but I think TD alone would have been enough. It's not that dangerous. And then we basically have the same situation in the next pull, just a bit easier. Going back here, we pull the left side here, which is one light spawn, a couple casters, 2 casters, and 1 paladin. And again, you have the situation that there could be overlaps with the paladin, but if your tank pulls both packs instantly, you have again like one purification into the Divine Toll, and there's like no overlap here. Our DH just melts it, but if he didn't melt, you would just single target heal him, giving him like Echo Reversion just to set up your Grace Period healing, and then you would use Echo into Verdant Embrace or something like that just to heal him. You can even use Rescue if you don't have single target healing. Like here, you see I'm just healing him. I'm using a Fire Breath even. Like, it's actually pretty straightforward to heal. At least in my mind. So here he gets it. I'm giving him double reversion, so he has 21% increased healing from my Grace Period. And then I see a Fire Breath up, and Fire Breath heals a lot when I'm charging it to 4. So I'm just charging up a Fire Breath here. And you see it's just instantly topping him. So that's one thing you could do here. Another thing would be to rescue him. Another thing would be to Echo Verdant Embrace. That was my initial plan. Like, that's why I put an Echo on him, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna Echo Verdant Embrace him. But then I saw I had Fire Breath up, so I just healed him with Fire Breath. And then my team focused the Paladin, so we don't even get a second Sacred Toll. So we're fine here. And then from this point onward, the pull is quite straightforward. I'm getting targeted here. That means I'm using my my self-heal defensive, my Renewing Blaze. And you don't need to press anything on top of it. Earlier you saw me press Renewing Blaze and my defensive, but because there's nothing else happening here, I can just only press my Renewing Blaze and nothing else, because it's not doing that much damage. And here you saw me use my TD instead of my defensive. The reason why I use TD for this last charge, because I have 2 TD charges when I'm playing 2 TD charges. And I had 2 ready, and I rather want to use one of those than my own defensive, because I wanna keep my own defensive for the parts later. And TDs are more expendable and also kinda a bit worse, right? You take the damage afterwards from TD. So if I play the mini boss soon, like we're gonna play the mini boss soon, if I TD myself there, then I'm gonna take all the damage delayed and might drop like very low there. I don't want to have that happen. But in this situation, the pull was dead, so there's nothing happening after my TD. So that's why it's a good point to use TD like towards the end of the pulls, because there's like no follow-up damage coming, and you have all the time in the world to heal the person back up. One thing that's important to keep in mind is that this pull that we just did is the last point where you want to send your stasis, which is what I did here. I think during this pull here at the start, I was sending it like tip the scales stasis. After this point, you have to hold your stasis. So here, when we get to let's see, when we get to this pull here, on the right side, the only cooldown that I'm sending is Tipped Scales and my Emerald Communion. You can send Emerald Communion freely, it's fine. It's not that needed on the next part. But you want to have your stasis for sure for the next mini boss. And then the difficulty of this pull is mostly the kicks. So here you want to help your team with like a deep breath stun at the right time, like track your party's kicks, track their knockups and their kicks, and don't worry so much about the single target casts that they do. Worry about the Firebolt volleys. The Firebolt volley will just wipe the group, but if one cast goes through on one player, okay, the player drops low, but you can heal them back up, and there's not much damage happening, right? This pull is easy to tank. There's not much tank damage happening in this pull, and the only thing that's happening is these purifications. And the way you can deal with them is just like by sending Tipped Scales, and then in your Tipped Scales tier set window, you're very, very strong. You will have no trouble healing that. And then outside of Tipped Scales, like let's say the pull lasts for a long while, and you're getting weaker, your Tipped Scales window's ending, then you want to send Emerald Communion just on one of those purifications, right? So here we get another set of purifications. I mean, I'm very lucky because I have a group that can aim acid on the DK, can feign it on the hunter, and my DH can just also melt it because he's Night Elf. But if you're not that lucky, just feel free to send send your time dilation here, send Emerald Communion here. It's completely no problem. And then save your life spark procs. One important thing here that makes it very easy to heal if you just keep reversions on the party and you get life spark procs, and you can then just use life spark procs to heal this. So here I'm just getting life spark procs and just sending them into my group, and you see it's feeling very, very safe. That's also one of the reasons why you're like putting out reversion on the whole group there, even though there's not much group damage happening. It's just to get life spark procs. That's like not the main reason to put him out. Is in most packs to just have like AoE healing, but in some packs you just want to put reversion on the whole party, and especially at the start of pulls or in between pulls, if you're like walking from one pull to another one, you're putting out reversions on the group, not because you want to have healing, but because you want to get life spark procs. Okay, now we go into the mini boss. And I want to set up reversions here, in this case actually for the healing as well. And then we're just at the start of the boss, group will drop quite dramatically because you don't have healing set up. Like once you're rolling, you're actually fine, but you need to first get rolling. And what I mean by rolling is that you have your reversions on the party, actually double reversion on everybody, then double Dream Breath on everybody, and then Fire Breath on the ads. Then you're rolling and you're fine. But at the start, you're going to drop a bit. So the way I would suggest preventing that is by using a life bind kind of instantly into a Tipped Scales. You can also press your defensive on pull if you want to, because this way you wouldn't drop as low. You see, I drop lower than the health of the group, so my mastery isn't active right now. I'm not healing 30% more, like I should. And then I'm just starting with like stasis, Tipped Scales, which is instantly topping the group. Then I'm also putting my Dream Breath in the stasis, so I'm just like using Fire Breath here, setting up the Fire Breath pots, and then I'm using my TA into Dream Breath, and then I'm refreshing reversions just so I have like double reversion on the whole party. So here, reversion on Azor, he's my weakest target. Like I'm obviously weak, but Azor's also weak. The DK is fine, he's very tanky, and my DH is also fine. He's leeching like crazy in meta, so he's fine as well. But make sure you have your reversion on yourself, on like one weak player, on the tank. And because you're in Lust, we're lusting this pull, and you're like in Tipped Scales, and you know what that does? We get a lot of haste. And haste makes our reversions have less cooldown. So we get reversion charges like crazy here at the start. And that gives you the opportunity to put reversion on the whole group. So here I'm just setting up reversion, like I told you, on the important targets. I had on me. Azure, I refresh it on the tank because he's in danger. And then the next one I would probably use on my DH and then my DK. And my goal is just to have like double reversion on the whole party. And you see I'm already pumping 8 million HPS here. And I'm just spot healing from that point onward. Just refreshing reversions here. Next reversion on Noggy. And you see here I'm in like my preferred state. I'm like more health than my party, which means I heal 30% more. I have double reversion on literally the whole party. My Fire Breath dot fell off, but that's because I went a bit for DPS. I did a rank 3 Fire Breath, I think. If I did a rank 1, I would have just still had like Fire Breath dots on the party. And I have double Dream Breath here. Now Dream Breath is falling off, and that's a good point to release my stasis. Because in my stasis, if you remember, I've stored my Spirit Bloom and double Dream Breath. So at any point here, I can just release stasis and get my double Dream Breath back. And then I can also, because I have like TA plus Dream Breath in my stasis, I can send my own TA that's not in stasis to refresh my reversions again, because you see my like echoed reversions are falling off soon. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do. You'll see me release stasis here soon. Or not. I guess I'm just... One thing I chose to do here, which is the wrong way to play, I think, because I should have released the stasis here. That was the correct play. But what I did was I put out... I refreshed my reversions. That's obviously very important, but I did a life bind combo on the group and pressed Renewing Blaze just to heal the group this way. But that's a combo I should have done later, if I'm being honest. I should have done like a release stasis here just to refresh the Dream Breath. And that would have been way better. So now I'm dropping, like here I'm doing my own Dream Breath again instead of just releasing the stasis one, which is very bad. I mean, it's good enough to heal the group, but if I played this correctly, I would have just released my stasis here. Anyway, we're sitting on the Rewind, we're sitting on Emerald Communion, we didn't even need it. Here at the end I'm sending it, but there's no damage, this Emerald Communion was wasted, could have used it on the boss. Was just a bad play by me to send the Emerald Communion here. But you see, we're like pumping 8 million HPS and we're not even flinching. It's very easy for Preservation Evoker. One thing you can do during this pull to help your group a bit is, again, helping with knockups. That's why playing Clobbering Sweep is so good, because your knockup is 1 minute. And the casters here, if you are not in a coordinated group that can kick every single cast, you will have issues with the cast going through. And by just like watching your parties kicks and then knocking up at the right time when they don't have kicks available, you're helping quite a bit. And then here on this boss, the only hard part is kind of the overlaps when you have the AoE going on and then Blinding Light happening at the same time. And that's the situations you want to have some kind of DR on your group for. It needs to be specifically damage reduction to help you with that. And the main way I'm healing this is to use a life bind. So here we get Purify, which is that the boss starts. I think it's called Purify, but I think you know what I mean. Like the boss starts pulsating damage, and then we get the Blinding Light. And the way you want to heal this is always with life bind on the party, and then you just cast a Spirit Bloom into that. That will top the party no matter what. Even if your party is like 10% and you have life bind on them and you press Spirit Bloom, they're gonna be topped. So here we get Blinding Light. I have a stasis stored. I'm turning away and I'm just releasing the stasis right before. Oh, wait, I skipped. I jumped to a wrong spot. Let's go back. Let's see. We were, I think, here turning away, and I release my stasis, and we're topped, and then we drop a bit, but we're fine. And ideally, you want to time your life bind even so that it lasts a bit longer after the AoE. So this was my mistake here. I life binded a bit too early. I want to wait a bit here. Life binding as late as possible. And then topping the party right after. So the reason why you want to life bind a bit later is that your life bind lasts to stay after the hit comes. So you heal the party back up even after the hit. And here, when there's no overlap happening, I'm just healing it naturally with just only reversions or dream breath. You can use whatever you have available, but just keep dream breath on the party. It's quite nice here, and you can just use living flames and reversions to heal the party here. I'm not sending a cooldown unless it's an overlap, so I'm checking the boss's abilities, and unless it's an overlap, I'm not sending any healing cooldowns there. The thing is, in P1, you sometimes have an overlap. You saw the first one and the second one was an overlap. But in P2 here, upstairs, you will always have overlaps. So that's why you kind of want to have healing cooldowns, but I have all of them available. Tip the Scale, Stasis, Rewind, Emerald Communion. I should have sent more even here to start. Like, I could have sent more healing cooldowns here, because there's no way I need all of them in the second phase. So you don't need to be greedy like me. You can always send like an Emerald Communion down here when there's an overlap coming. Or like a Rewind. One thing you can do here for the ads coming up is that you can use your landslide to root them. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm telling my team to deal with the left one. I'm doing the right one. And then just keep in mind here's overlaps always happening at the start. So you have, ideally, you have a plan for it. You have 2 tools to deal with that. With the DR that I told you about. Always have some DR in the group. One is to use Lumithars, which is shorter cooldown. It's 1.5 minutes. And the other one is Zephyr with 2 minutes. And then obviously you have your group's defensive. So in the first one, I would call your group to press defensives on the first overlap. On the second one, you could use Lumithars, because it's 1.5 minutes, so you get it back sooner. And on the third one, you would use Zephyr, and then on the fourth one, if you ever get a fourth overlap again, then you would use defensives again. So you kind of notice a pattern. It's the same like on the shards and halls, or on the second mini-boss here. Or actually third mini-boss. So here we get the overlap. Everybody's pressing defensives, tip the skills into stasis. And here I actually used my life bind correctly. If we go back, you can see I life binded quite late. And then life bind is still in the party even after the hit, and it's healing the party up because of that. And that's why it feels a lot safer if you life bind a bit later here. And then for the second overlap, I can use Zephyr or my Lumithars. So here I'm just using Zephyr instead and releasing my stasis. We're chilling. And now for the third one, I would just use Lumithars. I don't have strong healing here, except for like using Spirit Bloom. But I used Emerald Communion instead. So that's fine too. But if I didn't have my Emerald Communion there, I would have just hard casted a Spirit Bloom. And here, if we get the fourth one, I would call defensives again. We have Blur back, we have the 100 defensive back. I would probably have my defensive back. If I don't know where I used it, I probably just played it for safety because I saw the boss is dead. Like, I knew the boss was dead, so I just pressed it somewhere for safety. But you would then use Tip the Scales because you get Tip the Scales back for the fourth one. It plays exactly like the whole shards or the third mini boss here. And that's how you can heal Priory 19.